Ladies and gentlemen, who would have thought the South African Police Service actually sort of works when it really, really wants to? So in this video, we're going to try to explain why that might be. We've all seen, Becky Taylor try to talk in public. It's not a pretty sight. We've seen the crime stats. We've seen just the general corrupt nature of SAPs and the inability to solve crimes like high-profile assassinations. And yet, when it comes to like COVID-19, when it comes to the EFF shutdown, not that it was a shutdown, SAPs are actually bloody good at what they do. Restore law and order.
Yes, comrade, that's 100% correct. When SAPs actually want to get their finger out and actually save the nation, they can bloody well do a good job, huh? Ramon, this leaves us with a very difficult problem. Is SAPs incompetent or are they held back? Because if they're able to do this, why do they not do this every day?
That's something I can't really understand. So I made a point a while ago on Twitter that, SAFs are very useless and none of this is a choice. It's just pure incompetence from the ANC in terms of the rising crime stats and the number of violent crimes happening on a daily basis in South Africa. And then someone actually pulled me aside and said, listen, Ramon, 400,000 arrests during the 6 months of the COVID lockdown is not an accident. This was planned. This was done. It was highly efficient. So in essence, his argument was the lack of SAP's involvement in trying to solve crime every day is a matter of choice. It's almost like the ANC purposefully says, don't bother with it. We don't really care. Just do it for the grift. But in instances where there is like a real state of the nation disaster, like the purported shutdown, which wasn't a disaster by any means, SAPs are actually bloody good at what they do. They managed to dissuade the Red Berets from doing anything violent for the most part. And you keep wondering to yourself, why do they do this every day? Like, if they did this state of emergency El Salvadorian style for a year, there won't be any crime in South Africa, like at all. But they sort of refuse to do it. And that's the conundrum we're facing.
Let's be honest here. The reason why the ANC allows South Africa to burn on a daily basis is because, by and large, it's a leadership issue. There is no leadership in SAPs 90% of the time. The guy who's actually responsible for all of SAPs, the actual National Commissioner, not Becky Cele, actually was exposed on the weekend as not even having any security clearance in order to actually have the intelligence to stop crime. This is a guy who actually failed his security clearance because apparently he's insolvent. Becky Cele himself is only really ever interested in the cameras, and let's face it, wherever he feels there's a talking opportunity, he's there. This appears to me to be a leadership issue. But isn't it amazing that when leadership is actually required because it threatens the governing party, where Cyril actually gets his finger out and says, right, guys, I want to see leadership on a mass scale. Do you know what we get? We get an effective police force. We actually get a day of proper peace, a day where law and order is restored. And I suppose this leaves me with the question, why the can Cyril just not do this on a day-to-day basis? He took no alliance partner questions. He consulted nobody. He said, I want law and order. We will restore law and order to the democracy. And lo and behold, we did. This shows us what the country can be when the president grows a backbone and does his job and provides the leadership that the republic requires. Who knew?
Yeah, indeed. I mean, during the course of the shutdown, it was imperative that Cyril stamped his authority on the country, and he did so admirably. Listen, we don't like the guy. We're not saying vote for him, but he did a pretty good job with all the associated people in his security cluster in making sure the shutdown was as useful as a wet fish in the desert. Why this doesn't happen every day, I'm at a loss for words. We know it works. We know that active policing works. That's how you solve crime. That's how you prevent crime from happening. But we let ESCOM be destroyed by criminal elements all the time. We let GBV and murder and assault and armed robbery increase to rates never seen before in the world. And yet when the time is the road, they can prevent the EFF from actually having a normal shutdown. None of this makes sense. So yeah, I'm sort of at a loss for words.
Yeah, I think we're all at a loss for words because we all have to look at this on a daily basis and look at our republic fall apart. And it always comes back to the same issue. There is no leadership. And when leadership's actually required and when they actually do their job, it's amazing what actually happens. We actually have positive results for once. Get your shit together, Cyril. You've shown us what you can do, which means that we expect to see more of this. We expect you to do things for the benefit of the nation. Stop pulling the communist bullcrap and save your republic. You've shown us you can do it. We expect more from you.
And ironically, that's how the ANC wins the next election, right? By stamping its authority, by having law and order, by making sure things work. All this stuff is quite possible with the ANC in power. They've shown it in the past. From 94 till 2004, the country was doing rather good, right? And I don't know whether he's stupid, whether he's meek, whether he's timid, or whatever the case might be. I'm not too sure what it is. But ironically, if he actually behaved that way since 2017, with authority, with firmness, with a strategic goal to make South Africa better, because he says so himself, he's not here for the money, he's here to stamp his mark on the country. Mate, you could have done this 5 years ago. And now you've shown that you could do it to prevent the shutdown. But we know that he's not going to do it going to 2024. That's just weird. It's like having two different people running the country on different days. It's the weirdest thing I've ever seen.
Communism in action, my friend. Communism action.